A woman rarely chooses the man who tries the hardest. She chooses the man who understands himself the deepest. It's quiet, almost invisible to the untrained eye. Yet it shapes every relationship, every connection, every moment of attraction. Machiavelli understood something people still don't. The person who controls the emotional tone of a room controls attention without saying a word. So imagine this. While other men chase approval, chase validation, chase her time, you move differently. You move with calm intention, quiet strength, and inner certainty. You don't try to take her focus, you naturally draw it. You don't try to impress. You simply express who you are with clarity and direction. And that difference, soft, subtle, powerful, is what she remembers. When everyone else feels the same, that's the real strategy. The man who doesn't beg for attention. Most men think they need to fight for a woman's attention. They talk louder, try harder, act bigger, or pretend to be someone they're not. But the truth is simple. The more a man tries to force attention, the more he loses it. Machiavelli understood this human pattern centuries ago. He wrote that real influence grows when people feel you don't depend on their approval. And in modern relationships, this is still true. A woman can sense the difference between a man who wants to share his life and a man who is desperate for validation. She notices how a man behaves when she doesn't reply instantly. She watches how he reacts when other men are around. She pays attention to whether he stays confident in himself or whether he starts trying to win her by overdoing everything. A man who begs for attention sends a loud message. My worth depends on you noticing me. That energy pushes a woman away, even if she liked him before. It feels heavy, it feels needy, it feels like pressure. But a man who is emotionally grounded sends a very different message. I value you, but I value myself too. This man doesn't panic when she needs space. He doesn't chase when she gets busy. He doesn't collapse when she doesn't respond immediately. He remains calm, steady, and centered in who he is. This calmness is rare, and because it's rare, it's powerful. A woman remembers a man like this because he feels different. He doesn't drain her energy, he adds to it. He doesn't make her feel responsible for his emotions. He manages them himself. He doesn't try to force his way into her mind. He earns his place there naturally. While other men stretch themselves thin trying to impress her, he keeps his dignity. While others show off, he shows consistency. While others try to talk their way into her heart, he lets his presence do the work. When a man stops trying to be chosen and starts choosing himself, everything changes. His confidence feels real, not loud. His personality feels natural, not acted. His attention feels calm, not clingy. And this is the kind of man a woman can't ignore. He becomes the break from the noise, the pause in the chaos, the steady presence that stands out when every other man feels the same. And that's why a woman remembers him. He doesn't beg for attention. He earns it without trying. Emotional tone is power. Most people think influence comes from talking the loudest, acting the boldest, or trying to control every situation. But real influence is quieter. It comes from the emotional tone you carry, your energy, your calmness, and your ability to stay centered when life becomes stressful. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology existed. He believed that the calced person in any environment becomes the anchor, the one others naturally look to for direction and stability. Think about it. People feel safe around calm energy. They feel relaxed around someone who doesn't panic. They trust someone who stays steady even when others are losing control. It's a basic human instinct. We're drawn to emotional safety the same way we're drawn to physical safety. A woman feels this even more strongly. She pays attention to how a man reacts when things go wrong. She notices whether he gets irritated easily, whether he blames others, or whether he becomes unstable under pressure. And she also notices the opposite, the man who takes a deep breath instead of exploding, who thinks before he speaks, and who stays rational even when the situation is emotional. This doesn't mean a man must be emotionless. It means he must be emotionally disciplined. A man who can understand his feelings without being controlled by them instantly becomes more attractive. He feels like someone she can trust with her heart because he can first handle his own. Imagine two men. One snaps quickly, reacts impulsively, and gets overwhelmed easily. The other stays composed, listens carefully, and responds with intention instead of emotion. Which one feels safer? Which one feels more mature? Which one feels like a partner she can depend on? A woman sees emotional stability as a form of strength. When she sees you navigate stress with clarity, she sees a man who can protect peace instead of destroying it. When she watches you handle conflict with patience, she sees a man who values solutions over ego. And when she sees you manage your own emotions with discipline, she sees someone capable of handling the deeper parts of a relationship. In a world full of emotional chaos, the man who controls his tone controls the moment. And the man who controls the moment becomes the one others look to for guidance, respect, and connection. That is real power. That is the kind of power Machiavelli understood, and that is the kind of power a woman instinctively chooses, because it promises safety, stability, and a future built on strength rather than storms. Why a woman chooses the man with direction? A man without direction doesn't just feel lost. He lives lost. And even if he tries to hide it, a woman senses it immediately. She can feel when a man is drifting through life, moving without purpose, jumping from idea to idea, or waiting for someone else to lead him. She doesn't judge him for it, but she cannot fully trust him either, because without direction, his life has no anchor. Purpose is not about being rich. Purpose is not about being famous. Purpose is not about chasing big dreams just to impress people. Purpose simply means you know the path you're walking, and you walk it with intention. It means you have goals, even small ones. It means you have values you stand on. It means you have a vision for your future, even if you're still building it. Machiavelli wrote that a leader without vision cannot inspire loyalty. He believed that clarity of direction makes people feel safe, confident, and willing to follow. This idea applies perfectly to modern relationships. A woman doesn't want a man to rule her. She wants a man who leads himself. She wants a man who knows where he's going, because that tells her something important. He won't depend on her to create his entire life. When a man lacks direction, he often clings to a woman for stability, identity, or purpose. He makes her the center of his world because he has nothing else guiding him. But this creates pressure, not attraction. A woman doesn't want to carry a man's lostness. She wants to walk beside a man who carries his own life with strength. But when a man has direction, real direction, everything changes. His movements feel intentional. His choices make sense. His energy becomes focused instead of scattered. He stops being reactive and becomes proactive. And that sense of clarity makes a woman feel something powerful. Respect. She respects a man who wakes up with discipline. She respects a man who invests in his growth. She respects a man who has dreams and works toward them. She respects a man who keeps moving forward even when life is difficult. And respect is one of the strongest foundations for attraction. Direction also creates emotional stability. A man with purpose doesn't get shaken easily, because he has something bigger guiding him. He doesn't lose himself when problems come. He doesn't collapse when things go wrong. He continues moving step by step because his path gives him strength. This is why a woman chooses the man with direction. It's not because he's perfect or successful. It's because he's aligned with himself. He knows what he wants. He knows who he is becoming. He knows where he is heading. And a woman feels safe joining a journey that already has meaning. A man with direction becomes rare, and rare things stand out naturally. The power of subtle confidence. Confidence is one of the most misunderstood qualities in men. Many think confidence means being loud, showing off, dominating conversations, or acting tougher than they feel. But real confidence is the opposite. Confidence that screams is usually insecurity trying to hide. Confidence that whispers calm, steady, effortless, that is mastery. A woman can see through fake confidence instantly. She notices the man who talks too much to hide his fear. She sees the man who acts arrogant because he's unsure.